Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Birch Press Design and another design team project. And for this one, I'm going to feature mainly the Pinpoint Snowflake and the Frosty Flake layering die set, which is also a snowflake. But I'm also going to pull in the string art frame. I believe I've used this before. And I'm going to use the Merry Honey Script die set. So I love the Pinpoint dies that Birch Press is bringing out, and this one here has a beautiful design. Then as I was digging around, I found the Frosty Flake. Now I know I used that recently in another video, I think it was the 25 tags actually. And I actually made tags with this die, and I thought it would be perfect to layer on top of the Pinpoint. So again, just another way to stretch out items that we have in our stash, whether we're layering them, whether we combine them, whether we dig into our scraps, but just other ways to use the items that we have or ways that we can add to it. Now, as always, I've taken care of the die cutting all offline because then this would be a very long video. So now we get to watch me glue. So for this, I'm actually putting together 3 cards because I wasn't sure what layers were going to go where and what color was going to go where, because I dug into my metallics, my regular cardstock, my mirror cardstock, and just went to town cutting. So these have an aqua, greenish, copper, silver, gold look to them. So for the first one, I love the Frosty Flake layering die set. It's very dainty. It's not a heavy feeling snowflake, which means then of course it's very thin when we get these layers together. Now this layering die set is perfect for an ornament, a tag in the front of our card. So for the first one, I'm laying it down flat. I'm using my art glitter glue and the fine point, and the entire piece is going to be laid together flat. For the next 2, I'm only applying glue to the center points. I don't want to apply glue to the edges. This will allow those edges to bend up, which will add more dimension to each of the snowflakes. Now you can see this snowflake will change just by the colors that you use. So when it comes to the first one that I put together, I have a dark blue mirror cardstock and then a medium aqua cardstock, and then I added the I think it's a blush mirror cardstock on the top. Then I moved on to a glitter cardstock, then to the blush mirror, and then the regular cardstock on the top, and it changed the look drastically. And then finally I added a green mirror cardstock with a gold on top of a silver plate. So again, just very different looks are being achieved just by changing the cardstock. Now for the Pinpoint, I went with a white, the dark teal, and the silver. And again, even that looks a little bit different. And this die set fits in this absolutely perfect. Now I chose to take the long points of the snowflake to the long points of the Pinpoint. I think it would be really pretty if you just turned it a little bit and made the long points come out of the shorter area so that they would be extended beyond that image. For all of these images, they are being placed completely down onto the Pinpoint. base of it, just to make sure that it was secured. So these are each of the pieces, and I think these would make beautiful ornaments just the way they are. And of course, because the dies are symmetrical, you can put back to back with no problem. So then I cut out from white cardstock, the aqua cardstock, and the silver metallic cardstock, one of the string arts. Now my card bases are 5 by 7 and they are a side folding. Now of course the plate for the string art is a standard A2 size plate, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it is going to be smaller. But by placing this snowflake on the top, so I'm going to cover up the circle, and then just shifting it a certain way, it's going to extend off of that plate. It's a way to give interest to your background, or at least I thought. Just a different way to give that level of interest. It doesn't have to take up the whole thing, and again, it's offset. It's more towards the bottom because the top point of the snowflake is going to extend off of the card, that card design, the string art. So when that point comes off the top, it's going to be the same distance as what it is from the bottom, if that makes sense. So I'm just removing all of my release paper here to get this star or the snowflake set in place. So again, I'm just going to set that just at a way so that that point just extends off the top of the card. And we're going to do that for each of them. Again, just putting little tiny dots along the edge of this frame, and then setting it the same way. While I've used different cardstocks for each of them, I am using the same setup on each of my cards. Now, I do love the white on white. I think that just adds something when you use white cardstock. I think this card would absolutely be beautiful just using white cardstock. The bases that I'm using are white. So think about if everything was white, even though it would all be the same color, you can still see it. It just adds this level of texture that creates, to me, again, my opinion, just creates a level of elegance when it's all in white, and maybe an accent of the silver or an accent of the gold, to just have that on that card. So again, you know, look at your dies, look at how they would be layered, how they would look if you layered them, and what different scenarios you could get from it, if that makes sense. So of course, taking forever to get the release paper off, because yes, I feel the need to put tons of it on there just to make sure that it's nice and secured. And then same thing for our final one. We're going to put the dots around the frame. We're going to secure the frame down onto our card panel, the same as we have before. And then we will put tons of double-sided foam squares on the back of the snowflake, and then set that in place as well. I think this die, one of the things that I do want to try with this string art is cutting off the frame edge, you know, that outside border, and then just continuously turning this. Very curious to see what that would do when it comes to this die. It's something that I'm trying, but I do love, you know, the way that we can layer these dies, the way that we can develop them into other types of focal points. So once again, we're going to remove the tonnage of release paper that I have here, because I've put tons and tons of double-sided foam squares. Again, now I'm just checking, you know, to make sure that it's sticky. And we're going to set this down onto our panel as well. So I think it also almost creates an optical illusion, which I think is really cool. Here's where I have the Merry Honey Script die by Birch Press. And what I've done is I've die cut what I refer to as the cloud in the back 3 times from white cardstock, and then once from the metallic or the mirror cardstock that I used for each of these cards. I will get that set up onto that. Figured adding the 3 layers of white added a bit of dimension, which would help this sentiment to stand out. Not that it's not going to stand out since I used the mirror cardstock, but it'll help it be its own. It creates a shadow around it, if that makes sense. I don't know. These are things that I say. Now I'm just putting that mirror cardstock right on there, and I apologize if you heard me gulp there. I had to take a sip of my tea. And now for the final, same thing, 3 layers of the white, and then the mirror cardstock will be on the top. And again, I did use the mirror cardstock that I used within each of these pieces, which will help pull out that cardstock. It's like when you stamp in black, our sentiments usually in black. It helps to pull your colors out that you're using. Now I'm going to just set these down onto the bottom right hand corner, and of course I must put them in on an angle because it's just what I do. So these are nice size cards. Can put lots of messages in there, can put a gift card in there, anything that we would like. So I do hope you enjoyed today's projects. Again, featuring the Frosty Flake and the Pinpoint Snowflake dies by Birch Press. As always, all the products that I used will be listed down below in the video description. And by all means, if you have any questions, please leave those down below as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Everyone, continue to smile and laugh just a little bit each day. Continue to stay safe and healthy. But most important, you know what's most important for me. Just do it just a little bit each day. Always. Be creative. Till next time, guys. Take care.